My dear friend, let us begin with a truth so profound, so life-changing, that when you hear it, and more importantly, when you feel it, your entire world will shift before your very eyes. Your millionaire reality already exists. Yes, in this very moment. Not in some far-off future, not in some distant realm, but here now, it is yours to claim, not by force, not by effort, but by assumption, by stepping into the state of the wish fulfilled. You see, we are not here to create wealth as though it lies outside of us. We are here to awaken to it, to remember what is already true in the timeless field of consciousness. Everything you have ever desired, every fortune, every dollar, every luxury, already exists within the infinite imagination that is your true self. For consciousness is the only reality, and imagination is its voice. The world you see is but the reflection of your inner assumptions, your inner speech, your inner knowing. If you would become a millionaire, you must first be one in your mind, and not merely as a passing thought or a hopeful wish, but as a deep inner conviction. You must dwell in the feeling of wealth. You must live from the end. To live from the end is not to hope or to beg, but to know. To be so certain of your wealth that the world cannot help but conform to your inner vision. Let me say it again, your millionaire self already exists. In the infinite quantum field, all possibilities are present. You poor and struggling, and you wealthy and free, both exist simultaneously. Which one you experience depends only upon the state you occupy. States are not earned, they are assumed. You need not struggle to get to the state of wealth. You need only to step into it, by imagination, by faith, by feeling. Suppose tonight, before you drift into sleep, you dare to feel yourself as already rich. You imagine with such vividness, with such clarity, that your senses are fooled. You walk through your mansion in your mind. You run your fingers along the marble countertops. You smell the leather seats of your new car. You feel the softness of luxury linens on your bed. This is not fantasy. This is creation. For imagination is the only creative power in the universe. I tell you, the moment you accept this feeling as real, not tomorrow, not next week, but now, your world must rearrange itself. Your outer reality must mirror the inner state you have assumed. And the law is impersonal. It does not care if you are worthy. It does not ask how long you've struggled. It responds only to your assumption. Many ask, but how can I assume what I do not yet see? And I answer, you do it every day. You assume fear before anything goes wrong. You assume failure before you try. You assume lack, and so you live in lack. Why not reverse the process and assume abundance? Assume wealth. Assume success. Assume the feeling of being a millionaire and remain faithful to it. There is no power outside of consciousness. The money you seek, the opportunities you desire, the people you long to meet, all are reflections of the state you dwell in. Do not chase them. Embody the version of you that already has them. Step into the scene where it is already done. Be so anchored in that feeling that nothing can sway you. The key is persistence. You must remain loyal to your inner vision even when the outer world denies it. The world is a mirror, not a master. It reflects what you feel to be true. If you judge by appearances, you remain bound to them. But if you judge by the truth within you, the millionaire reality you have assumed, then the world must bow to your inner decree. When you claim your millionaire self in imagination, you must not return to the old man. Do not look back. Do not contradict your assumption by speaking of lack. Speak only of what you are becoming. Better still, speak only from what you have already become. Say not, I will be rich, but I am rich. Say not, I hope to succeed, but I succeed effortlessly. This is not arrogance. It is alignment with the law of being. You are not manifesting wealth. You are revealing it. You are not attracting money. You are remembering your birthright. The entire universe is within you, waiting to be expressed. And expression begins with assumption. Perhaps you are wondering, but what about my debts? What about the bills, the job, the struggle? And I tell you, those things are shadows, remnants of your past assumptions. Do not resist them. Simply deny them the power to define you. They are not the truth. The truth is what you choose to feel now. And feeling is the secret. Suppose you sit quietly and bring before your mind a simple scene. You are holding a check for $1 million, or perhaps you are looking at your bank account, and the numbers read 7 figures. What do you feel? How does your body respond? Do you feel relief, joy, gratitude? Anchor yourself in that feeling. That is the seed. If you water it with faith and repetition, it must grow. You do not need to know the how. That is not your work. Your work is to occupy the state. The bridge of incidents will unfold on its own. People, events, and circumstances will conspire in ways you could never predict. But you must not waver. If doubt arises, return to the feeling. If fear speaks, speak louder the truth of your inner world. This is the narrow path. Few walk it, for it requires discipline of attention. But those who do find that reality itself bends to their will. Let us not forget, imagination creates reality. Not someday, not eventually, but now. Everything begins in the unseen, and the unseen is governed by what you assume to be true. If you truly knew that you were already a millionaire, how would you walk? How would you speak? How would you think? Begin there. Act as if it were impossible to fail. Live from the result, not the condition. This is not wishful thinking. This is divine law. You are the operant power. Nothing happens unless you make it happen by your consciousness. If you persist in the state of wealth, if you saturate your mind with the feeling of abundance, then the world must reflect it. And when it does, you will not be surprised, for you will have lived it already 1,000 times in imagination. Be not afraid to dream boldly. The only limits are the ones you accept. There is no virtue in poverty, no holiness in lack. You were made in the image of the Creator, to imagine, to expand, to express the fullness of life. Wealth is your natural state, not greed, not vanity, but the freedom to be, to give, to live without fear. Speak to yourself as the wealthy one. Think from the place of affluence. Walk through life as though the treasure were already yours, because it is. What you are conscious of being, you become. Say with me now, not as a question, but as a declaration: I am wealthy. I am free. I am overflowing with abundance. It is done. Persist in this feeling. Morning and night, return to it. When the world tempts you with appearances, return again. You are not subject to the world. The world is subject to you. Remain loyal to your inner vision, and the outer world must conform. In the silence of your mind, claim your fortune. In the stillness of sleep, enter the state of wealth. Dream from the end, and in time, perhaps sooner than you dare to expect, the world will echo your assumption. The money will come. The opportunities will appear. The life you imagined will stand before you in full color and form. Not because you earned it by toil, but because you claimed it by faith. Not because you chased it, but because you became it. You stepped into the state, and the state brought everything else with it. This is the secret. This is the key. This is the path. Now walk in it. So then, remain faithful. Faith is loyalty to the unseen. Faith is not hope. Hope waits. Faith knows. When you live in faith, you are not swayed by appearances. You are not waiting for the outside world to tell you it's done. You tell it that it's done. The world is clay, and your inner conviction is the sculptor. Mold it, shape it, but never beg from it. Speak with authority, for you are the author of your reality. When you go to sleep as the millionaire. Let that be your final act of creation each night, to surrender into the feeling of wealth. Feel it so deeply that your subconscious cannot tell the difference. And when you awaken, arise as the version of you who already has everything. Before you check your phone, before you speak a word, reaffirm, it is done. My wealth is secure. I am the abundance I sought. The world is only echoing back to you the beliefs you've installed in yourself. Your inner speech becomes outer experience. If you speak lack, you live lack. But if you speak wealth, and more importantly, feel wealth, then wealth must find you. It is law. You do not need to convince others. You need only convince yourself. That is your sacred work. This is why so few experience transformation. They do not persist in the assumption long enough for it to harden into fact. They plant the seed, but dig it up the next day to see if it's growing. No, my friend, you must plant it and believe. And in believing it becomes. You will feel tempted to react. You may see the bills, the balances, the limitations. But these are echoes, not current truths. They are the old state playing itself out. If you react, you return to the old state. If you remain unmoved, you confirm the new. To the one who remains steadfast, All things must bow. There is nothing more powerful than a mind convinced of its own wealth. The outer riches are but symbols. The real gold lies in your self-concept. Change that, and the entire world changes with it. The world is not separate from you. It is yourself pushed out. So make the inner self wealthy, and the outer will reflect it effortlessly. When you walk into a room, walk as a person who lacks nothing, not arrogantly, but confidently. Quiet confidence is magnetic. It is born not from ego, but from alignment. When you believe you already have all that you desire, you carry an energy that attracts everything to you. You no longer need to hustle or prove. You become a living invitation to abundance. What about action, you ask? Of course you act, but now your actions are infused with knowing. You are not taking action to become rich. You are acting from the state of wealth. Every move you make, every word you speak, flows from the version of you who already succeeded. It is not striving, it is expression. You no longer ask, will this work? Instead you declare, this is who I am. And that declaration becomes the script your world must follow. For the universe is always listening, not to your words alone, but to the feeling behind them. If the feeling is lack, then even the sweetest affirmations are empty. But if the feeling is abundance, then even a whisper is thunder in the world of form. So feel it, breathe it in, let it sink deep into your bones. Let wealth become your natural rhythm. Let it be as familiar as your own heartbeat. No longer something to chase, but something to relax into. Something that was always yours, waiting for you to notice. What you seek is seeking you, but it cannot reach you if you are dwelling in doubt. Come up higher, rise into the state where all is well, where all is done. In that state, time collapses, miracles happen swiftly, synchronicities align, and all because you dared to feel different. You do not need to beg the universe. You are the universe expressing as you, speak as it would, think as it would, feel as it would, and then watch as the shadows part, and the treasures hidden in your consciousness begin to manifest around you. You will look back one day, and smile at how simple it truly was. Not easy, for it requires discipline, but simple. You changed your mind, you changed your inner conversations, you changed your self-image, and the world could not help but obey. So today I urge you, step into it. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for signs. Be the sign. Be the evidence of what is possible. Become the living proof that imagination creates reality. Assume it, own it, declare it. Your millionaire reality is not a fantasy. It is a frequency. And when you tune into it, all the riches, all the opportunities, all the clients, all the windfalls, they come not as a surprise, but as the natural consequence of who you become. So I say once more, with all the conviction in my heart, your millionaire reality already exists. Not out there, not in some distant future, but in you. And the only thing required, the only door you must walk through is assumption. Assume the feeling, assume the identity, assume the result, and never waver, never doubt. For the world will reflect you exactly as you are within. So make the inner world wealthy, radiant, confident, and the outer world will mirror it in perfect detail. As you persist in this assumption, as you continue to wear the garments of wealth in your imagination, something miraculous begins to happen. You no longer need the money to feel rich. You no longer require the world to change for you to feel abundant. You have mastered the feeling itself, and that mastery is what bends the external world to your inner command. You begin to see signs everywhere, not because the world suddenly decided to cooperate, but because you changed the lens through which you view it. The same streets, the same people, the same circumstances begin to appear new, vibrant, rich with possibility, all because you are new. With this newness comes a deep inner calm. There is no more panic, no more lack. You walk as one who has already arrived. You speak from the mountaintop, not the valley. This is the secret of all transformation. To feel the truth before it is seen. To feel wealthy while the world still echoes poverty. To feel successful while the evidence says otherwise. That is the test, and that is the power. You must understand that your external world is always lagging behind your inner state. It takes time, sometimes only days, sometimes weeks, for the visible to catch up with the invisible. but it always does. Inevitably, unfailingly, as long as you remain faithful to the new state. If you waver, if you fall back into the old story, then you delay the manifestation, not because you're being punished, but because the law cannot express what you do not consent to internally. So guard your inner conversations, make them sacred. If you catch yourself saying, "I can't afford that," stop. Replace it with, "I choose not to buy it now, because I am a wise steward of my abundance." If you find yourself thinking, "Nothing ever works out for me," replace it with, "Everything is always working in my favor, seen and unseen." You must become the master of your inner world, not a victim to passing thoughts, but a deliberate thinker, a conscious feeler, a chooser of states. This is why I urge you to make time each day for inner communion. Withdraw from the noise. Go into the silence. And there, in the theater of your imagination, see and feel yourself as the person you desire to be. Live the scene over and over. Repeat it until it becomes natural, until you no longer try to believe it, because it feels inevitable. You do not need to force the world to obey. You only need to dwell in the state that naturally includes your desire. Think not of what you want. Think from it. If you are already a millionaire, how do you think about opportunities? How do you relate to money? How do you wake up in the morning? What do you expect from life? Begin to live that way, not someday, not when you have proof, but now. The now is your point of power. And in this eternal now, everything you seek is already yours. I must tell you again, the world is not a cause. It is an effect. The only cause is consciousness. The outer world is simply crystallized imagination. What you hold in mind with feeling must outpicture in time. It is law, there is no exception. When you realize this, not just intellectually, but viscerally, experientially, your entire relationship with life changes. You stop chasing. You stop begging. You stop waiting. You become still, certain, grounded. You know that what you are imagining must come to pass, and so you rest in the assurance of it. You live in a kind of divine leisure, acting only when moved by inspiration, trusting that every step is ordered by your deeper assumption. Yes, people will wonder what changed. They'll ask what strategy you used, what job you took, what risky investment you made, but they won't understand unless they too have walked this path. Because the real change happened in silence, in stillness, in imagination. Long before the bank account swelled, you became wealthy in spirit, and that wealth had no choice but to appear in the world of form. You are not waiting for your fortune. It is waiting for you, not the version of you who struggles, but the version who dares to feel successful in the absence of proof. The version who chooses joy, not because circumstances are perfect, but because joy is the language of the fulfilled wish. Let me say again, you are not trying to get anything. You are learning to be everything. This is why the inner world is the only thing that matters. When you get the inside right, the outside follows. But if you keep checking the mirror to see if your smile is real, you will never smile. You must first be. And then the reflection appears. Persist, no matter what, no matter how long it takes, no matter what your senses report. Hold fast to the truth that your millionaire reality already exists. You have seen it in your mind. You have felt it in your bones. You have claimed it as your identity, and identity always finds expression. If you fall, get back up. If you doubt, return to the scene. If you waver, remind yourself of who you are. You are not some powerless creature trying to earn favor from the universe. You are the operant power. You are the divine in action. And when you assume a state, the universe responds, not because of what you want, but because of who you are being. So be the wealth, be the abundance, be the success, and everything else will come to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Because once you fully embody the wealth within, you no longer think about being rich, you think from the richness itself. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, even breathe differently. Your nervous system relaxes. The anxiety disappears. Why? Because there is no tension in the fulfilled state. You have already arrived. You no longer hustle to get something. You act from the awareness that you already have it. That's the mystery. That's the gateway. From this place of inner richness, your choices become cleaner. You say no to what doesn't align, not out of fear, but from clarity. You become selective, not desperate. Opportunities show up in your life, not because you chase them, but because you are now magnetic to them. You are dwelling in the state that naturally attracts abundance. You are broadcasting the frequency of a fulfilled being. And this is precisely why people often feel stuck, not because their desire is unreachable, but because they are still identifying with the version of themselves who doesn't have it. As long as you remain emotionally loyal to the old version of you, the one who worries, who doubts, who asks how long will it take, you delay the manifestation. The new you, the rich you, the fulfilled you, must become the only version you live from. And once you fully make that shift, everything accelerates. The movement of your world depends solely on the movement within your imagination. I cannot emphasize this enough. It is not hard work that brings the change, it is inner work. You don't plant seeds and then shout at the soil to grow faster. You plant, you water, and you trust. So too with your assumptions, you plant them with repetition, water them with feeling, and trust the law to fulfill them. Your only real job is to remain in the state of the wish fulfilled. All else is done for you. The how is not your concern. The bridge of incidents is not your responsibility. You simply rest in the knowing that it is done, and when the outer reality begins to echo the inner shift, you won't be surprised. You'll simply say, of course, it could be no other way. For when the inside is transformed, the outside must follow. It must. This is not philosophy. It is law. The law is always working, either for you or against you, depending on the state you dwell in. So do not visit the state of wealth, live in it. Build your mental home in abundance. Sleep in it. Eat in it. Think in it. Speak in it. And when doubts come, and they will, dismiss them not with fear, but with quiet confidence. That was the old man. I am new now. I have stepped into my truth. What is this truth? That you are the master of assumption. That your inner world is the blueprint. That everything in your life is molded by the images and feelings you entertain consistently. That nothing comes to you unless it first comes through you. You are not waiting on the world. The world is waiting on your alignment. So today, now in this very moment, assume your power. Assume the feeling of already being the millionaire version of you, and do not step out of that identity, no matter what appears. When the bank account tries to argue, you smile, you know the truth. When others doubt you, you stay composed. You know the law. When your senses lie, you override them. You know imagination is more real than anything your eyes can see. Stay in the state, and let the state express through you. Let the phone ring with good news. Let the mail bring unexpected checks. Let the ideas come that unlock streams of wealth, but never chase them. Never panic. They come naturally when you are dwelling in the right consciousness. Above all, never forget you are not doing this alone. You are supported by the same infinite intelligence that created galaxies. That divine power is flowing through your thoughts, your feelings, your visions. You are not separate from Source. You are the extension of it, and your imagination is the sacred tool through which it works. So bless this moment, this breath, this awareness. You are rich now. You are powerful now. You are the creator now, not in theory, but in lived experience. And everything around you must eventually mirror the wealth you now carry within. As you continue in this inner knowing, you realize something else. That wealth is not merely money, but a state of mind, a state of peace, of freedom, of certainty. You begin to see wealth everywhere, not just in your account, but in the air you breathe, in the sun that kisses your skin, in the conversations that uplift you. You begin to walk in harmony with life itself. And in this harmony, material wealth naturally flows to you, because you are no longer resisting it with thoughts of lack, you are allowing it with your feeling of abundance. The truth is, wealth was never separate from you. It only seemed so because you identified with a lesser version of yourself, but now you have remembered. You've returned to the source. You've stepped into your true identity, not a person trying to become rich, but a spiritual being revealing the richness that has always been yours. And in this shift, everything transforms. The mind becomes calm. The body becomes light. The path becomes clear. You no longer force outcomes. You allow them. You no longer measure success by the clock or the calendar. You know time bends to your assumption. What once seemed far away now arrives swiftly, effortlessly. Why? Because you are no longer delaying with disbelief. You are no longer canceling your desire with contradictory thoughts. You are living from it. That is the final key. Consistency of consciousness. To dwell habitually in the state of wealth until it becomes your new normal. To think like a millionaire until it becomes automatic. To feel deserving, not occasionally, but daily, moment by moment, breath by breath. When wealth becomes your identity, life cannot help but shape itself accordingly. You are not here to struggle, to strive, to wait endlessly. You are here to create, and you create, not by effort, but by alignment. Not by willpower, but by assumption. And assumption is simply sustained feeling. The feeling that it is done, that it is so, that you are already that which you desire to be. So be it, right now. No more postponing. No more hoping someday. You've already dreamed it. You've already felt it. You've already seen the scene in your mind. Now you must be it. Step into the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not later, not tomorrow, but today. As you do, the world will shift. The people will change. The ideas will come. The money will arrive. The success will unfold. And you will stand as living proof that your inner reality shapes your outer world. Because it does. It always has. And it always will. You begin to realize that the only real power you've ever needed was your awareness, the awareness of being. Whatever you are aware of being, you become, not by external force, not by manipulating circumstances, but by surrendering to the truth of that awareness. So you let go of striving. You let go of begging the universe. You stop asking when will it come, and instead you begin saying, it is already here. That shift, subtle though it may seem, is the true turning point. It is the birth of the new you. This new you doesn't walk around searching for signs. You are the sign. You don't look to the outer world for confirmation. The outer world looks to you for instruction. You realize, at last, that you are not on a journey to become wealthy. You are the wealthy one on a journey to remember. And with that remembrance, the fog clears. The illusions fade. And what's left is truth. Simple, radiant truth. Your millionaire reality already exists. You are walking through it right now, with every thought, every assumption, every emotion. The more clearly you see it within, the more vividly it materializes without. And then comes the moment of deep gratitude. Not the gratitude that pleads and hopes, but the gratitude that knows. The kind of thankfulness that says, I am so glad and grateful that all I once desired is now my present reality. This is not pretending. This is creation. This is the act of stepping into your new world by the power of feeling, by the sacred act of being before seeing. You understand now that imagination is not some idle escape. It is the workshop of the divine. It is where all realities are birthed. And once you truly inhabit the image, not as a visitor but as a resident, the world must bend, must shift, must move to make that image manifest in the material. Even in moments of delay, you no longer react. You rest. You trust. You remind yourself gently, I've already seen the end. I've already lived it in my mind. It must unfold. There's no need to rush, because it's already done. And with that inner peace, everything accelerates. You see, the irony is beautiful. The less you try to get rich, and the more you become rich in your consciousness, the faster wealth rushes in. Not from pressure, but from alignment. Not from forcing, but from flowing. Not from desperation, but from decision. You decided. That's the difference. You didn't hope. You didn't wait. You decided that you are wealthy now, that you are successful now, that you are abundant now. And that decision became your new vibration, your new identity, and therefore your new reality. This is the truth that the masses miss. They keep trying to fix the world, rearrange the pieces, hustle for scraps. But those who know the law, who know imagination, who understand the art of assumption, they do something different. They go within. They assume the feeling. And then they watch as the outer world reflects back their inner certainty with uncanny precision. So I say to you, as a reminder, as a whisper from your higher self. You need not become rich. You already are. You need not chase the dream. It already exists. You need not struggle for the outcome. The outcome is already finished. Your only task is to step into that version of yourself, completely, unwaveringly, and consistently. When you do, when you really do, life will astonish you. Opportunities will arise as if out of nowhere. People will call you lucky, but you will know the truth. You will smile silently, knowing it was never luck. It was law. It was imagination. It was the quiet assumption held in the sacred place of your heart. You will walk through life differently, not with arrogance, but with serene certainty. You won't need to prove your worth. You are the proof. Every breath you take will echo that inner abundance. You'll make decisions from power, not pressure. You'll invest in yourself without hesitation. You'll speak as one who already possesses, who already enjoys, who already is. This new self doesn't need convincing. It knows. It trusts its inner vision more than the evidence of the senses, because it understands that the senses only reflect, they do not lead. So while others are busy reacting to the world, trying to fix what they believe is broken, you are quietly choosing a new scene in the inner theater of your imagination. And because you do not doubt, because you persist, because you feel it real, the scene becomes substance. The dream becomes fact. The invisible becomes visible. And you realize how natural it all is, that manifesting isn't a miracle. It's simply remembering the truth before the world catches up. This remembering becomes your lifestyle. It's not something you turn on for a moment and then forget. No, it becomes your very way of being. You become so practiced in assuming the best that anything less feels foreign. You reject lack not because it's wrong, but because it doesn't feel like you anymore. You've outgrown it. You've evolved. You now identify with prosperity, with overflow, with ease. And ease, my friend, is the language of the fulfilled state. When you live in the end, you are not tense. You are not frantic. You are not searching. You are resting in the knowing. You are breathing from the summit. You are responding to life, not reacting to it. And this shift, this profound shift, becomes the seed of every miracle that follows. So hold to your vision. Return to it often. When doubt whispers, go back into the scene. When fear knocks, feel the state again. When circumstances try to tempt you into old habits of lack, simply remind yourself, that's not who I am anymore. I've moved. I dwell in the state of wealth now. And let that new residence define everything you say, everything you do, everything you feel. Because the truth is, your millionaire reality isn't coming. It's already here. Not in the world of appearances, but in the deeper world of imagination, the only world that truly matters. And the more you persist in it, the more the world must obey. It must obey, because the world is your mirror, always reflecting the sum total of your inner assumptions, your inner speech, your self-concept. It cannot give you what you have not first accepted as true within yourself. So if you wish to see more wealth, you must feel yourself as wealthy now. If you desire more freedom, more luxury, more opportunity, you must embody that state inwardly before it can take shape outwardly. The inner man is the cause. The outer world is the effect. You may change jobs, change cities, change strategies, but if you do not change the inner assumption, the results will remain the same. That is why some people win the lottery and lose it all within a year, because their self-concept of lack remained unchanged. They received wealth without becoming wealth, and the law which never fails restored to them the state they truly believed in. But that is not your story. You know the law. You know your imagination is the only creative force, and you use it wisely, deliberately, lovingly. You go within and create scenes that imply your wealth is real, scenes that fill you with joy, ease, and a quiet confidence. You repeat them until they feel natural, until they feel like home, until you no longer need to visualize them, because they have become your identity. Then what once felt far away begins to feel normal. You begin to forget the old version of you, the one who struggled, the one who worried, the one who doubted. That version begins to fade, like a dream upon waking. You no longer relate to it. You no longer feel the weight of striving. You are at ease because you are aligned. You are relaxed because you are fulfilled. And in this beautiful state of inner fulfillment, the physical world begins to deliver its gifts, not as a reward, but as a reflection. It will come in the most natural ways. You'll meet someone who opens a door. You'll receive an idea that leads to abundance. You'll stumble upon opportunities you couldn't have planned if you tried. That's the magic of alignment. It does not rely on struggle or logic. It unfolds through synchronicity and flow. But always remember, those events are not the cause of your wealth. They are the confirmation of it. The cause was the inner shift, the assumption, the decision to feel rich, to live rich, to think rich, long before any evidence showed up. That moment, the moment you chose to believe, was the true beginning of your millionaire reality. Everything else simply followed. So you no longer worship the manifestation. You no longer treat the money, the cars, the homes, as the power. You understand they are echoes, shadows cast by the light of your consciousness. They are beautiful, yes, and to be enjoyed fully. But the true treasure is your ability to assume, to feel into being whatever you desire. That is your divine gift. That is the pearl of great price. You cherish this power not with fear, but with reverence. You use it wisely, carefully, intentionally. You no longer react emotionally to what the world shows you. If something appears that contradicts your desire, you bless it, for it is only a fading echo of a former belief. You no longer panic. You no longer spiral. You remain still in the knowledge that your new reality is already solidified in consciousness, and therefore must soon appear in form. In this stillness, you become more powerful than any circumstance. You don't talk about the wealth that is coming. You speak from the wealth that is. Your tone changes. Your words carry more weight, not because you're trying to impress others, but because you are impressed inwardly by the truth of who you've become. This inner transformation begins to touch every area of your life. You begin to eat like a wealthy person. You carry yourself with dignity. You give freely. You listen more deeply. You appreciate the smallest things, not because you're pretending, but because your inner state has changed, and your outer behaviors naturally follow. You've become the version of yourself that once felt like a distant dream, and now it is simply who you are. You notice that people respond differently. They treat you with more respect, more admiration, more warmth. And again, it's not because of what you say or wear or do. It's because of what you radiate. Wealth is now your frequency. You no longer seek validation. You embody it. All of this began not with effort but with awareness, with the quiet decision to feel rich before you had a reason to declare yourself abundant while your world still said otherwise. That was your act of faith. That was the seed of your transformation. And now that seed has blossomed. And so, my beloved friend, let this truth settle deep into your heart. Your millionaire reality already exists. It is not a matter of time. It is not a matter of worth. It is only a matter of assumption. The moment you assume the feeling of wealth, the moment you know it is done, everything in your outer world begins to rearrange itself to reflect that new truth. Do not wait another day. Do not wait for evidence. You are the evidence. You are the operant power. Right now, in this very moment, you can close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel the richness of a life fulfilled. That feeling is your signal, your command to the universe. Persist in that inner conviction no matter what appears, and the world must comply. It is law. You are not small. You are not powerless. You are not broken. You are infinite awareness clothed in flesh, and your imagination is the key to everything you desire. Use it. Trust it. Live from the end. Walk boldly. Speak abundantly. And think only from the fulfilled wish. This is your time. Not tomorrow. Not when things get better. Today. Right now. This instant. Step into the identity of the one who already possesses the wealth, the freedom, the success. Step into the you that already exists in imagination, and live there not as a visitor but as the rightful owner. And you will see, as surely as night becomes day, that life bends to the power of assumption. Your millionaire reality is not coming. It is already yours. Step into it today. My friend, the greatest secret that has ever been kept from man is this. You are not a victim of circumstances. You are the creator of them. Life does not happen to you. It responds to you. All that you behold, though it appears without, it is within, in your imagination, of which this world of mortality is but a shadow. And I tell you, if you would but force yourself, not in the crude sense of external struggle, but force your inner attention toward the fulfillment of your desires. You would realize that the power which shapes your world is not outside of you, but within your own wonderful human imagination. Man waits, you see, waits for inspiration, for motivation, for the perfect time to act. But the truth is, the only time is now. The only place is here. And the only power you'll ever need to achieve your goals already resides in you. You must learn to discipline your imagination, to command it, to force yourself into alignment with your highest vision, and to hold that vision so steadily, so persistently, that the outer world is compelled to mirror it back to you. What do I mean when I say force yourself? I do not speak of willpower in the way the world defines it, through grim determination and sweat. I speak of a divine compulsion, a deliberate and conscious choice to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, regardless of appearances, to mentally and emotionally live from the end, and to do so even when your senses scream that nothing has changed. This is the true force I speak of. The act of assuming responsibility for your inner world so completely that the outer must bend to reflect your inner command. It begins in the quiet of the mind, in that sacred place where you turn inward and imagine yourself already being what you long to be, already doing what you long to do, already having what you desire to possess. And then you persist in that assumption, not once, not twice, but day after day, moment after moment, until it hardens into fact. You force yourself to remain faithful to that vision, even when everything in your world suggests otherwise. The lazy man waits for the world to give him permission to move. The powerful man gives himself permission. The masses believe they must hustle and grind and suffer, and prove themselves to an external judge. But the awakened one knows better. He knows that the only true work is mental work, the labor of holding fast to the end in mind. To force your mind to dwell only on the result you desire is to unleash a creative power that no obstacle can withstand. Do you wish to change your career? Then in your imagination, you have already changed it. Feel the joy of waking up each morning to the life you love. Hear the words of your clients, your colleagues, your family congratulating you. Smell the air of your new office or environment. Let it be so real in your mind that you are moved emotionally by it. And then force yourself to return to that scene again and again until the world outside catches up. You must not be casual about this. You must be militant in your imagination. Too many people let their minds drift to worry, doubt, fear, and limitation, and then wonder why their lives reflect those very things. The world does not reward wishful thinking. It rewards assumed reality. Force yourself to think only on what you wish to express and experience. Imagination, left undisciplined, is a wild horse that tramples your destiny. But imagination directed with intention becomes the divine steed that carries you to your promised land. I do not say this lightly. There is a price to be paid for transformation, and that price is self-mastery. It is not pain, nor sacrifice, nor suffering in the worldly sense. It is the daily decision to live mentally and emotionally in the end. It is the refusal to indulge in self-pity, the dismissal of delay, the death of doubt. It is the spiritual insistence that what I want I already have, because I have imagined it so completely that the world cannot help but reflect it. Do not wait for your mood to be right. Do not wait for your friends to agree with you. Do not wait for the economy, or the politics, or your family. You are the operant power. Your inner conversations are creating your tomorrows. And so I urge you, force your inner speech to conform to your wish fulfilled. Let your words and thoughts and feelings be consistent with what you want to create. Speak only as if you already are. Think only from the place of having. Feel only what it feels like to be there now. That is the force that changes lives. When doubts arise, and they will, force your mind back to the vision. When fears whisper to you, do not give them your ears. Instead, answer them with certainty. It is done. And when nothing seems to be happening in the world, remember the seed lies buried in the soil long before the plant breaks through the earth. Do not dig it up to check its progress. Trust the law. Trust your imagination. Trust the feeling of the wish fulfilled. I remember the story of a man who desired wealth. He imagined himself with it, night after night. But he was poor, you see, by every measure the world would give. He forced himself, not with physical effort, but with mental obedience, to return every day to the scene of his wealth. He smelled the leather seats of his car, felt the weight of his bank balance, saw the smile on his wife's face, and after weeks of nothing, suddenly, the call came, the opportunity, the unexpected windfall. The world moved because he had moved internally, and he wept, not from surprise but from recognition. The law is real. You too have that same power. There is no chosen few. There is only consciousness, and your use of it. You may be tired. You may be struggling. You may be filled with fear. But still I say, force yourself to hold to the vision. Not because it is easy, but because it is the only way. You must be unreasonable in your devotion to your imagined goal. Refuse to entertain any thoughts that contradict your desire. Refuse to discuss it with those who do not believe. Protect your vision like a sacred flame in the wind. What the world calls discipline, I call love. If you truly loved your vision, would you not return to it daily? Would you not feed it and nurture it? Would you not protect it from the weeds of doubt and despair? That is the force of which I speak. The force of loving your future self so deeply that you will not allow your present self to sabotage it with worry and fear. You must become the guardian of your own destiny, and that begins in imagination. Every goal you have ever set, every dream you have ever dared to desire, it is all possible, if you will but assume it to be so. The question is not, can it be done? The question is, will you accept that it is already done in your imagination? And will you persist in that assumption until it becomes your experience? That is the true test, not of action but of faith. Will you stay faithful to the unseen long enough for it to be seen? There is no power outside of you that is withholding your desires. There is no fate that has decided your limitations. You are not cursed, nor are you a victim of luck. You are simply unaware of your power. But I tell you now, awaken to it. Force yourself in every moment of doubt to return to your assumption. Catch yourself when your mind wanders, and gently but firmly return it to the vision. This is the daily work of the spiritual creator. This is the sacred use of force, not violence, not struggle, but the divine discipline of imagination. You are already creating your life. The question is, are you doing it deliberately? Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, is writing the script of your reality. You cannot escape this truth. So I ask you, why not use that power for good? Why not force yourself to create heaven instead of hell? Why not choose to imagine only what uplifts, empowers and expands you? If you must imagine, imagine wisely. If you must think, think richly. If you must feel, feel as though your dream were already real. And when the world says no, you say yes within. When time says not yet, you say now in your imagination. When doubt knocks, you answer with belief. And when the old self cries out for comfort in its familiar suffering, you respond with compassion. But do not go back. You are being born again, and birth is never without discomfort. But oh, the life that follows. The joy of seeing the world mirror your inner state is worth every moment of disciplined imagination. I have seen miracles, not because I am special, but because I believed. And you too can see miracles, daily, hourly, constantly, when you learn to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled and to force your thoughts to stay there. Not once, not briefly, but habitually, naturally, automatically. This is not repression. It is not denial. It is divine insistence. It is the sacred force of one who knows that imagination is God, and therefore refuses to imagine anything unworthy of the divine. So let this be your practice tonight. Before sleep, enter the state of the wish fulfilled. Force yourself to feel it real. Let the body sleep, but let the mind dwell in your chosen reality. And tomorrow when you rise, carry that feeling into your day. And if you stray, return. And if you doubt, reaffirm. And if the world contradicts, smile, for you know the truth. The world is simply your echo. My dear friend, you are so much more powerful than you know. The power you seek is not in struggle, not in effort, not in chance. It is in your assumption. Force yourself to live mentally from the end. Make it your dwelling place. Let no fear, no fact, no failure dissuade you from your inner vision. And when you do, oh when you do, You will watch in wonder and in awe, as the world bends, not to your will, but to your assumption. You are the operant power. Never forget it. As you persist in this assumption, this inner conviction, that what you have imagined is more real than what your senses report, you begin to notice subtle shifts. People speak differently to you. Opportunities seem to arise from nowhere. Ideas flow with ease. But understand this. None of it is coincidence. It is all the outpicturing of your sustained inner state. The world is not separate from you. It is yourself pushed out. So when you force yourself to maintain the tone, the vibration, the emotional certainty of your desired end, the world obeys, not because you demanded it to, but because you became it in consciousness. You must dare to be bold in your assumptions. No great dream was ever realized through timid thinking. Force yourself, lovingly but firmly, to let go of old beliefs. If you wish to be healthy, you must abandon the identity of being unwell. If you wish to be wealthy, you must cease identifying with lack. If you wish to be loved, you must drop the mask of unworthiness. These things may try to cling to you, for the ego resists change, but the spirit longs to expand. And it is by imagination that the soul stretches, evolves, and steps into the infinite. It is not enough to merely want change. You must embody change. It must possess you so fully that even your smallest actions reflect it. The tone of your voice changes. Your posture shifts. Your decisions become aligned with the new state. And the more you live from that state internally, the more the world is compelled to conform. Not because you chased anything, but because you magnetized everything by becoming the version of yourself who already has it. Do not make the mistake of thinking manifestation is passive. It is restful, yes, but not idle. It requires alertness of the highest kind. It demands that you catch every stray thought, every habitual doubt, and replace it with faith. And that takes force, not harshness, but intentional power. It is a sacred act of mental guardianship. The constant reminding of yourself, I am already what I long to be. It is done. There will be days where everything in your outer world tempts you to believe otherwise. There will be moments where fear knocks louder than faith. In those moments, you must rise higher. You must force your attention upward, inward, beyond the facts, and back to the truth. Your imagination is reality. Everything else is just delayed confirmation. You must not treat this lightly. You are not playing with fantasies. You are operating with law. The law is always working, and it works perfectly. It does not give you what you want, but what you believe to be true. That is why assumption is so powerful. When you assume something to be true, even in the face of contradiction, you set in motion invisible forces that reshape the world. And so I ask you, why assume failure, when you could just as easily assume success? Why imagine lack, when you could imagine abundance? Why entertain doubt, when you could feel the thrill of certainty? These are choices, not conditions. And the more you force yourself to make the right choice in imagination, the more natural it becomes. What once felt like effort becomes your default. What once felt like forcing becomes flowing. But the start is often the hardest. To turn the ship of consciousness takes momentum. That is why in the beginning, you must persist. You must say to yourself again and again, this is who I am now. This is what I have now. This is how I live now. Speak it, feel it, breathe it, until it feels not like a stretch, but a remembering. And when that happens, when your imagined state feels more real than your former reality, you know you are near. Let others scoff. Let the world doubt. Let appearances delay. You keep your eyes inward. You force your inner conversations to match your dream. You catch the mind when it slips and gently return it. Like a loving parent guiding a child, you guide your thoughts over and over, back to the truth. And in doing so you become the architect of a new world. There is no mountain too high, no goal too grand, no dream too far, only assumptions too weak. Strengthen them, nourish them, return to them, and let every breath you take be a reminder that you are already becoming what you've imagined. And the more you force your inner world to align, the faster the outer will follow, always, inevitably, perfectly. Because the moment you persist without wavering, when you hold the assumption with such conviction that it feels more like memory than hope, you enter into a sacred contract with the unseen. Life begins to rearrange itself on your behalf, not because you begged or pleaded, but because you believed. This is the invisible force of creation that the world overlooks. They look at action and motion and strategy, but you, the awakened one,
You know better. You know that all true creation is first imaginal. In your imagining, you must become ruthless with your attention. You cannot afford to indulge the old man, the one you've outgrown. You cannot afford to entertain his stories of why it can't be done. Force yourself to listen only to the voice of your higher self, the one who has already done it. Hear the words that future you would say to you now. It's done. You made it. You were never wrong to believe. And let those words echo louder than the doubts. The force I speak of is not aggression. It is surrender to truth. It is surrendering to the unseen vision with such loyalty that no temporary setback could shake you. Do you not see? Setbacks are illusions. Delays are illusions. The only truth is what you accept as real in consciousness. That is the root, and everything else is fruit. The branch does not worry. It simply grows what the root feeds it. Feed your root with conviction, and the branches of your life will bear the fruit of your choosing. So yes, force yourself to persist. When the night feels long, persist. When the evidence is lacking, persist. When your senses are screaming for validation, persist. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are causing the change by holding the image. The image is everything. The picture you carry in your mind is your prayer, your command, your destiny. And every moment you feel it real, you accelerate its arrival. You may not see the bridge of events immediately. That matters not. You have no concern with the how. Your job is the what. You select it. You feel it. You live it in imagination. And then unseen forces call it the subconscious, the universe, God. It matters not what you name it. They begin to orchestrate. People move. Circumstances adjust. Conversations unfold. And all you did was assume. But you assumed with such power, such force, that the world had no choice but to respond. Your greatest work is done in silence. While others strive, you assume. While others doubt, you imagine. While others quit, you persist in the inner conviction that what you desire is already yours. And because of that unseen work, your outer world begins to shift. And they will call it luck, or coincidence, or even magic. But you will know the truth. You will know it was law. The law of assumption. The law of consciousness. The law that never fails.
And once you experience this even once, just once, you will never doubt again. Because the thrill of watching your imagination become your reality is the greatest confirmation you will ever need. But even before that confirmation comes, you must hold fast. This is where force becomes your ally. Not through effort, not through strain, but through loyalty to the vision. What does the man who has achieved his goal feel like? What thoughts occupy his mind? What emotions fill his day? Force yourself into that state. Dress your mind in the thoughts of the fulfilled one. Walk through your day from the consciousness of the successful, the healthy, the abundant, the loved. And do not allow the old state to creep back in. Starve it of attention. Starve it of belief. And it will wither. The new you, the fulfilled you, the realized you, that is not a future version. That is the true you, hidden beneath years of doubt and conditioning. And by forcefully returning to that version in imagination, you reawaken the God within. For God acts by becoming the thing imagined. And you are that God, my friend. Not in ego, but in essence. You are the creative power of your own life. And your only limitation is the belief in limitation. I do not say this to flatter you. I say it to awaken you. You have suffered long enough in the prison of passive living. It is time to take up the mantle of the operant power. It is time to force your mind lovingly, deliberately, firmly into the state of already having, already being, already living as though your highest dream were here, now. Because in truth, it is. Because in truth, it already exists. Your desire is not something to be created, it is something to be claimed. Creation is finished. The moment you conceived of your goal, it was already born in the unseen. Your job is not to make it real, but to align with it, to match its frequency, to live from it, not toward it. And this too is why force is required. Not physical force, but the inner force of faithful attention. The force of imagining so clearly, so vividly, so often, that your body begins to react as if it were already true. This is not about waiting. This is not about hoping. This is about knowing. And the only way to know is to feel. You must feel your way into the version of yourself who has already achieved the goal. And you must stay there, even if only for moments at a time, until it becomes your dominant state. And if your thoughts begin to waver, bring them back. If your feelings begin to fade, rekindle them. This is the force I speak of, a holy insistence upon your new identity. Most people live from memory. They repeat yesterday's stories, yesterday's failures, yesterday's moods, and so they wonder why nothing changes. But you must live from imagination, from the end, from the fulfillment, from the unseen truth that is truer than the facts. This is your advantage. This is your advantage. This is your superpower. You can place your attention wherever you wish, and by doing so, you shift reality itself. When you force yourself to assume the state of your fulfilled desire, you are doing what Scripture means when it says, "Be still and know that I am God." Still the noise, still the senses, still the story of delay, and know, not intellectually but emotionally, that I am is the source of all things. I am wealthy, I am powerful, I am healed, I am loved. These are not affirmations to chant mindlessly. They are identity shifts, and you must force yourself again and again to return to this truth. I am what I choose to be now. There will come a moment, and it always comes, when the assumption becomes natural, when it no longer feels like forcing, when the vision feels more real than the facts. And that is when you are ripe for manifestation. That is when bridges of incidents will begin to unfold so effortlessly that you will laugh in awe. But even then, remain faithful. Do not break the state. Do not look back. For Lot's wife turned to salt when she looked behind her. This is not mythology. It is a metaphor. The moment you return to the old state, you freeze your progress. Keep your gaze on what you've chosen. Forward. Always forward. Understand this. There is nothing in your way except the belief that something is in your way. And even that is imagined. You are never stuck. You are never helpless. You are only ever misaligned. And alignment is one choice away. One thought, one feeling, one imaginal act away. So force yourself with love to choose again. Choose the scene of fulfillment. Choose the feeling of success. Choose the conviction of it is done. Not later. Not someday. Now, when your body resists, when old thoughts come knocking, when your emotions try to pull you back into the familiar, do not fight them with fear. Embrace them with understanding, then rise higher. Say to them, you no longer belong to me. I have chosen a new self. And then return. Return to the image. Return to the feeling. Return to the reality that exists within. That is your home now. That is where you live. And soon the world must conform. And soon the world will conform. Not because you demanded it with force of fist, but because you commanded it with force of vision. And vision is stronger than fact. Vision precedes form. Vision is the blueprint, and the outer world is but the obedient construction of your inner pattern. You cannot see it yet, perhaps, but it is there. It is already finished in the field of the unseen, waiting only for you to persist long enough, faithfully enough, for it to crystallize into form. This is why I urge you, with all the strength I have, to live in the end, not as a fantasy, but as a discipline, not as a wish, but as a knowing. You do not need anyone's permission to believe. You do not need evidence to feel. You do not need proof to persist. You only need your imagination and your willingness to stay loyal to it. That is the key. That is the force that bends time, moves mountains, and rewrites destinies. You may say, but it's hard. I can't always feel it. And to that I say, of course it's hard. That's why so few do it. That's why so few rise above their past and live as creators. The path is narrow because the mind prefers the comfort of the known. But you who are listening, you who are awakening, you are called to something greater. And greater things require greater focus, greater imagination, greater force of attention. It may take days. It may take weeks. It may take longer. But the law is not mocked. What you sow in imagination, you must reap in experience. You have only to persist. The hardest part is not the outer journey. It's the inner obedience. It is forcing yourself not to collapse into doubt when the evidence is not immediate. It is returning again and again to the inner vision until you can no longer distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. Because now, they are one. When that union takes place, when your inner state is so fused with your imagined outcome that it feels inevitable, that's when the shift is complete. That's when the tide turns. And often it will happen when you least expect it. It will seem sudden, but it never is. It is always the result of sustained assumption. It is always the harvest of the seeds you faithfully planted and watered with imagination, emotion, and persistence. So do not stop. Do not waver. Do not entertain the suggestion of defeat. You are not your past. You are not your fears. You are not your doubts. You are consciousness itself. And consciousness is the only reality. And if you can force yourself, moment by moment, to think from the place of the wish fulfilled, to speak from it, to feel from it, then you will experience it. Not by accident, not by luck, but by law. By law, it must be so, because what you accept as true within must outpicture itself without. This is not speculation. This is not hope. This is not superstition. It is principle. And principles do not bend for emotion, for fear, for temporary appearances. They respond only to conviction. They respond only to assumption. So you must assume with such clarity, such repetition, such fierce loyalty to your desire fulfilled, that no opposing fact has the power to dislodge you from your state. And if in the silence of your night you feel doubt creeping into the back door of your mind, you must stand guard. You must return to the scene, return to the feeling, return to the knowing. You must not let the mind wander back into the wilderness of the familiar. The familiar is a desert. It has given you all it can. If you want a new life, you must plant yourself in the soil of the new state, and stay there long enough for roots to grow. That is the cost of transformation. Not strain, but patience. Not effort, but emotional fidelity. You cannot be double-minded and expect results. You cannot live partly in your wish fulfilled and partly in fear of its absence. The law is exact. It reflects your inner world with precision. So you must choose where you dwell. And if you catch yourself drifting, you lovingly force yourself back, not with shame, not with guilt, but with awareness. I have wandered from the truth. Let me return to the vision. And in that simple act of return, the creative act continues. You must live so fully in the joy of your fulfilled desire that it becomes your natural home. Others will not understand you at first. They will say you are unrealistic. They will say you are delusional. Let them. They speak from the mind of facts. You speak from the mind of truth. And truth, when lived long enough in imagination, will bend facts to fit its image. This is the law, my friend. And you are its master. If only you will claim it. There is a moment when you will feel the shift. A quiet moment when something within you clicks, and you know not think, but know that it is done, that your wish is fulfilled, that your goal is already achieved. And from that moment, all that remains is the unfolding. You move through your days with peace. You make your choices from the new state. You walk, speak, and breathe as the one who has already arrived. And the world, in its own time and way, arranges itself to mirror that inner transformation. This is not fantasy. This is not blind faith. This is the eternal principle taught by the ancients, by the mystics, by the sages, and by every man or woman who has ever changed their world, by changing their mind. As within, so without. According to your faith, be it unto you. These are not poetic sentiments. They are instructions. They are maps. And the force you need is not out there in the world. It is in your attention. Where you place it. How long you hold it. What you dare to imagine. What you dare to feel as real. That is your true power. And you must wield it with care, with love, and with unwavering determination. With unwavering determination, you begin to notice the subtle shift in atmosphere around you. The people who once ignored you now take notice. The opportunities that seemed scarce begin to emerge effortlessly. The doors you once had to knock on now swing open, but you don't react in surprise. For deep within, you knew this would happen. You expected it, not as arrogance, but as alignment. You knew because you felt it before you ever saw it. You rehearsed it in silence. You lived it in stillness. You forced your inner world to reflect it so vividly that the outer world had no choice but to yield. This is the glorious unfolding of the law. And still, even as your manifestations begin to appear, you remain faithful, not to the outer results, but to the inner state. Because now, you understand the inner is the cause. The outer is the echo. You don't get excited because of what you see. You get excited because you are now one with your true identity. You no longer seek signs. You are the sign. You no longer chase. What you desire now flows to you.
because you've assumed its frequency. You have become magnetic, not because you forced the world, but because you forced your attention to dwell only where your soul belongs. And what belongs to you cannot be kept from you, not by time, not by doubt, not by history, not by logic. Once you accept it within, it must make its way to you. It must come, for it is already yours. And still, you continue. You do not rest on one manifestation. You do not stop at one result. You recognize now that life itself is your canvas, and you are its painter. You are always painting, always imagining, always creating. And with this realization, you take up the brush with reverence. You are careful now with your thoughts, selective with your emotions, intentional with your words, because you understand, I am always creating. Let me create what is lovely, what is pure, what is worthy of my divine inheritance. Yes, you are divine, and your imagination is the divine creative power flowing through you. It has always been yours, though perhaps forgotten. But now that you remember, you begin to live differently. You no longer need to force the world. You only need to command your inner world, and everything else follows. You begin to see setbacks as illusions, delays as preparation, and doubts as invitations to deepen your faith. You are no longer the one who waits. You are the one who is. You are no longer the one who hopes. You are the one who knows, and your knowing becomes your strength, your magnet, your miracle. Your miracle is not in some distant tomorrow. It is now, in this very moment of assumption. For every time you return to the feeling of the wish fulfilled, every time you choose to dwell in the state of already having, you are collapsing time. You are drawing the invisible into the visible. You are bringing the unseen into form. And though the world may not yet show you the full harvest, your inner senses know it is done. You are not concerned with how it comes. You have outgrown that need. The one who truly assumes does not wonder how, because he understands the how is not his business. He has already accepted the end, and the end determines the means. Events are drawn to you like iron to a magnet, not because you force the world with effort, but because you have forced your inner self into alignment with truth. So you begin to notice a kind of quiet power rising in you. You speak less about your desires, because you are living from them. You don't look to others for confirmation, because your confirmation comes from within. You feel the shift before the shift arrives. And when it does arrive, it feels natural. It feels inevitable. Because in your imagination, you've lived it 1,000 times already. You stop chasing signs and symbols, because you have become the embodiment of the desire. And now, everything reflects your new identity. The people you meet, the opportunities that come, the coincidences that string themselves together like pearls. They are not magic. They are the result of your decision to remain in the state. That is all you ever had to do. Assume, persist, refuse to waver, return to the end, over and over, until it becomes the only reality you know. When you do this long enough, something beautiful happens. You no longer need the goal to feel fulfilled. You are fulfilled already. You are in possession of it emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And from that place of fullness, the outer world delivers. But now, you are no longer desperate. You are no longer begging life to be good to you. You are aware that life already is good, because you have imagined it so. You become the still center around which all things move. You become unmoved by appearances and unshaken by time. For you understand now, the only force you need to apply is the one within, the force of consistency, the force of identity, the force of assumption, so strong, so unwavering, that reality must yield. And so, I leave you with this truth. You do not need to chase, to strive, or to suffer, to achieve your goals. You only need to decide who you are, and remain loyal to that vision. All things, yes, all things will be added unto you, the moment you claim them as already yours in imagination. Force yourself, not with strain, but with unwavering faith. Force your thoughts to dwell only on what you desire. Force your emotions to echo your fulfilled state. Force your inner conversations to align with your chosen reality. And in doing so, you will see the most incredible thing happen. Your world will change, not slowly, not someday, but now. There is nothing more powerful than a mind made up. Nothing more divine than a soul who knows its own creative power, and nothing more certain than this. If you can assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and persist in that assumption, the world will reorganize itself to reflect your belief. You are not here to react. You are here to create. You are not here to be a servant of circumstance. You are here to be the master of assumption. Live boldly. Imagine freely. Persist relentlessly. And force yourself, gently, lovingly, faithfully, to dwell only where your dream lives. And then watch, with calm wonder, as life itself bends to your inner command. It has always been you. It will always be you. Now go, and create, deliberately.
Do you not know that the moment you dare to act rich, to feel rich, to move in this world as if you were already surrounded by the wealth your heart longs for, you are planting the very seed of abundance within your own consciousness? What you assume to be true becomes true for you, not by some outside chance or favor, but by the immutable law of consciousness. This is not a theory, it is not a hope, it is a truth experienced by those who dare to test it. To act rich now is to align with the unseen yet real substance of your desire. It is to awaken the God power within and declare, I am rich, not with arrogance, but with divine knowing. You see, man is always creating, not by labor of the hands, but by the effortless movement of imagination. Your inner world is the womb of all manifestation. Every outer circumstance you now behold is simply the shadow cast by the light of your inner assumption. So if you walk in poverty, it is because within you have assumed yourself poor, not merely financially, but poor in self-belief, poor in imagination, poor in the acceptance of your own divine inheritance. But I tell you, the instant you dare to clothe yourself inwardly with wealth, to act in the silence of your mind as if you already possess all you desire, the universe, compelled by the law of consciousness, must rush to fulfill that assumption. To act rich now does not require dollars in your hand, it requires a rich awareness in your heart. Wealth begins not in the bank, but in the imagination. There is a sacred scripture which reads, to him who has more shall be given. This is not a reward for privilege, but a description of the law. When you possess the feeling of wealth inwardly, truly feel it, embody it, wear it like a robe, then more will be given, for you are living from the state of having. The law is simple. You become what you believe you are. And belief is sustained imagination, not a fleeting thought, but a state, a dwelling place. The outer man is forever reacting to the inner man. The world you see is the mirror of what you accept as true within. If you are to change your world, you must first change the assumptions that produce it. Most of humanity walks in a slumber of lack, praying for change while affirming limitation. They seek wealth through effort while doubting its arrival. But I say to you, act rich now, not tomorrow, not after the job, not when the check clears. Now, for now is the appointed hour of creation. You need not explain your actions to the world. You are not deceiving anyone. You are not pretending in a superficial way. You are assuming your rightful place. You are stepping into the dimension where your wish is already fulfilled. The universe does not respond to your words, it responds to your state. If you walk to the store with the gait of a beggar, the world reflects lack. If you move as one who owns the store, not with pride but certainty, the world rearranges to mirror your new stance. There was a woman once who wrote to me, desperate in her financial condition, saying, Neville, I have nothing, not even enough to buy a proper coat for winter. How can I act rich now? And I told her, go within. In the silence, imagine the weight of that new coat upon your shoulders. Feel the richness of its fabric. Hear the compliments of others admiring you in it. Do this night after night and walk the streets as though you wear it. And she did. And in less than a week, a stranger gifted her a coat of the very description she had imagined. This is not magic. This is law. The world is plastic to your imagination. It molds itself around your inner conversations and your persistent assumptions. The man who insists he is poor, who dwells upon his debts, who envies the rich, is sealing his fate. But the man who inwardly feasts on the feeling of wealth, who moves through life with an air of gratitude and confidence, who gives generously in thought and deed, that man has already shifted into the state where riches dwell. Let us be clear. To act rich is not to spend recklessly. It is not to mimic wealth with foolish extravagance. It is to think richly, to speak as one who knows the source is infinite, to move with trust, to give with joy, to plan with expectancy, to dress yourself with dignity regardless of your current wardrobe. The smallest acts, when done in the spirit of abundance, unlock great reservoirs of supply. Man's greatest limitation is his imagination under control of fear. But when imagination is wedded to faith, miracles follow. I urge you to listen to your thoughts. What are you saying to yourself when no one is watching? Are you telling the story of a pauper or a prince? Change your inner dialogue, and you change your world. Begin to tell yourself, I am rich in all that matters. I am provided for. Everything I need is rushing to me now. I walk in favor. I live under grace. I possess the mind of wealth. This is not delusion. It is creation. Every great fortune began with an idea, and every idea was first clothed in belief. The man who invents nothing more than a belief in his own worth is the man who eventually inherits the earth. It is not circumstance but consciousness that makes a man rich, and the universe, being no respecter of persons, gives freely to all who dare to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Think of yourself in possession of great wealth, not in vague fantasy, but in vivid clarity. What would you do? Where would you go? What would you wear? What would you say to yourself? What would your home look like? Do not wait for the world to give you permission. Create these scenes now in the inner theater of the mind and dwell in them until they feel real. For what feels real inwardly must eventually take form outwardly. Do not be concerned with the how. The universe knows far more than you ever could about how to bring things to pass. Your task is the what's, to define clearly and live faithfully from the state of already having it. You act rich by thinking from the end, by imagining and feeling what you would feel if your desire were a present fact. The bridge of incidents will unfold itself. Unexpected meetings, phone calls, opportunities, they will appear with uncanny precision, but only after you have shifted states. You see, you are not the victim of fate, but the master of your own destiny. There is no power outside your own consciousness. The kingdom of heaven is within you. And heaven, dear friend, is the state of fulfilled desire. When you enter that state in mind and emotion, you call heaven down to earth. You do not climb to success, you assume it. Many men say, but I must be practical. I must work and struggle. And I say, true work is not struggle but creation. Creation is born in rest, in silence, in assumption. The man who labors in anxiety is building castles in sand. The man who assumes success is planting seeds in eternal soil. That is why I urge you, act rich now. Think richly. Feel richly, assume your desires are already yours, and soon the harvest must come. There is a strange divine power in assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It bypasses the logic of the senses and impresses upon the subconscious the image of success. And the subconscious, being impersonal and creative, must outpicture that which is impressed upon it with emotion and repetition. The world then becomes the echo of your inner state. You can test this tonight. Before you sleep, close your eyes and relax your body. Enter into the state akin to sleep. And in that silence, imagine one scene, one simple scene that implies your wealth is real. Perhaps you are checking your bank account and seeing large numbers. Perhaps you are receiving congratulations from a friend. Whatever it is, make it short, make it vivid, and loop it gently until it feels natural. Fall asleep in that feeling and repeat this nightly. I promise you, the world will conform to the state you consistently occupy. Do not concern yourself if nothing changes in a day or a week. Remain faithful. Persist. The law will not fail you. Your assumption, when persisted in, will harden into fact. That is the secret. You must not waver. You must not look to appearances. Do not dig up the seed with doubt. Water it daily with belief. Nourish it with gratitude, and act in harmony with your assumption. Even in your daily life, begin now to walk, speak and think as one who is rich. Do not gossip about lack. Do not lament prices. Do not judge the wealthy. Instead, bless prosperity wherever you see it, for by blessing it, you call it to yourself. Celebrate others' abundance.
for it is proof that wealth is available. What you appreciate, you attract. Your world is a mirror, and every reflection begins with your inner image. To act rich now is not only a method, it is a revelation. It is the unveiling of your true nature. You are divine, you are abundant, you are the operant power. When you believe this deeply enough to live from it, your outer life must reflect it. Do not ask the universe to make you rich. Assume that you already are. Live from that place. Walk in that truth. Smile with that knowing. And soon all the evidence will follow. You will not have to chase wealth. It will come to you, magnetized by your belief. So I leave you with this. Begin now, not tomorrow. Not when conditions improve. Act rich now. Think richly. Feel richly. Speak richly. And the universe, governed by the law of assumption, will deliver swiftly, surely, and without fail. Do not hesitate. The greatest enemy of manifestation is delay. Not delay in the external world, but delay in claiming internally what is already yours. Every moment you postpone your assumption of wealth, you are extending your stay in the realm of lack. The universe does not operate on time. It operates on vibration, on state. The moment you enter the state of wealth, time bends to meet you. Opportunities rearrange. People appear. Doors open. That is why the man who walks in the assumption of abundance is never surprised by prosperity. He expects it. He prepares for it. He celebrates it before it arrives. You must understand, everything in your experience is responding to you. Not your words, not your actions, but your inner conviction. Do you truly believe you are rich, or are you hoping to be? Hope is not enough. Hope waits. Faith creates. You must possess your wealth now in imagination and in feeling. Live from the state. That is all. Act as though you are already rich. Not to impress the world, but to impress upon your subconscious the truth of your new identity. The moment you feel it real, the moment you truly believe it, it becomes inevitable. What would a rich man do in your situation? How would he respond to a bill, to an opportunity, to a challenge? Embody that response now, not when the money appears. Now, because in truth it already exists. All realities exist now, but only the one you embody will become visible. To act rich now is to choose that timeline deliberately. It is to collapse all other options and anchor yourself in the reality where wealth is yours. You have nothing to lose but your old self. Let go of the identity that says you are poor, struggling, or waiting. Kill that man. Bury him with gratitude for what he taught you, and rise anew in the image of abundance. This is not metaphor, this is mystical death and resurrection. This is the essence of all great spiritual teachings, stripped of dogma. You die to one state and live to another, and that transformation happens not by effort, but by assumption.
When you act rich now, you are not merely playing a part. You are accepting your birthright. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and you are the image and likeness of that divine essence. Lack is a lie. Scarcity is illusion. Fear is false memory. What is real is what you choose to make real through sustained inner attention. Choose wealth. Choose ease. Choose luxury of mind, peace of soul, and joy in being. And as within, so without. I have seen it too many times to doubt it. The universe will bend for the man or woman who dares to persist in the assumption of riches. It will astonish you. It will overwhelm you. It will humble you. But it cannot begin until you move. Not move in the outer sense, not frantic effort, but move internally. Shift states, change tracks, align with that reality in which you already possess all you desire. Now if you begin to live this way, to act rich now, you will be tested. Not by the universe, but by your own former beliefs. Old patterns will whisper, you are being foolish, you are pretending, you are not there yet. But I tell you, ignore those whispers. They are echoes of the old man. You are no longer him. You are the rich man. And he lives differently. He breathes differently. He thinks from abundance, not towards it. He gives because he knows there is more where that came from. He trusts because he walks in harmony with divine supply. Do not fear the appearance of lack. It is a ghost with no substance. It only seems real when you believe in it. But once you withdraw your attention, once you refuse to entertain it, it disappears. Replace every image of lack with one of abundance. Replace every fearful thought with a faithful one. Every moment is a new chance to realign. You are never stuck. unless you believe you are. The key is repetition. Daily, hourly, minute by minute, renew your assumption. Say to yourself, I am rich, I am supplied, I am grateful, I am ready. And feel it. Not just words, but feeling. That is the secret ingredient. Feeling. Emotion is the fuel that impresses the subconscious, and the subconscious is the womb of your world. It does not argue. It does not question. It creates. So live the part. Own the role. Let the world say what it will. You are not living for them. You are manifesting your true self. You are revealing what was always yours, hidden only by false belief. Wealth is not coming to you. It is coming from you. You are the cause. The outer world is the effect. And the faster you act as if it is already so, the faster the world will reflect it back to you. You must understand. To act rich now is not merely about money. It is about identity. It is about reclaiming your power as a creator. It is about stepping into the awareness that you are not separate from the source. You are the expression of it. The universe is not outside you. It is inside you. And it listens to your assumption more than your prayer. So assume boldly. Live from the wish fulfilled. Walk like the rich. Speak like the rich. Think like the rich. Love like the rich. And the world will mirror your new image with breathtaking speed. When you wake in the morning, do not rise as the one who lacks, but as the one who has already received. The tone of your thoughts, the rhythm of your movements, the very breath you take must carry the conviction that all is already yours. This state of being is not arrogance. It is sacred responsibility. You are not being asked to fantasize or pretend in childish ways, but to embody truth. Truth that you are already in possession of all that you desire by virtue of consciousness. The physical world will only echo that truth once it has become your natural state of mind. Every time you reach for worry, you are rehearsing the very reality you do not wish to live. But when you catch yourself and shift into the feeling of wealth, even if only for a moment, you have stepped out of the shadow and back into the light. It may feel unfamiliar at first, like wearing a new garment that hasn't yet molded to your frame, but keep wearing it. The feeling of wealth, of ease, of having will soon become your second skin. And when it does, you will wonder why you ever believed in lack at all. This is not positive thinking. This is not wishful daydreaming. This is alignment with a deeper reality, one that has always been waiting for your attention. The truth is, wealth exists now, not tomorrow, not one day. Now, the house you desire, the lifestyle you envision, the freedom you crave, all of it already exists in a dimension waiting to be claimed. And the key to claiming it is simple. Assume the state, enter the feeling, live from it, not toward it, but from it. That is the grand secret. That is how the universe delivers fast. You may say, but Neville, what if the money doesn't come tomorrow? And I say, why do you need it to come tomorrow if you already feel it now? You see, the moment you stop needing it, you possess it. The moment you stop begging, you begin receiving. The moment you stop doubting, you start living in the answer. Need pushes things away. Assumption draws them near. Stop chasing and start claiming. There is a moment somewhere in the silence of your soul when you feel it click. That instant when your desire becomes so natural to you, so real, that it is no longer a wish, but a fact. That is when manifestation is assured. Not because something changed outside, but because you changed inside. You crossed over. You shifted realities. And the world by law must now conform. You can see it in the eyes of those who truly believe. They do not hustle with anxiety. They move with peace. They do not speak of their dreams as distant. They speak of them as unfolding. They do not envy others, for they know they have already received. That is the confidence of one who acts rich now. That is the vibration of a master. Let me tell you, the universe is quick to respond to such a vibration, for the universe is not random. It is lawful. It is obedient to your inner state. Change your state and your world changes. Do not ask when it will come. Ask instead, how would I feel if it were already here? And then dwell in that feeling, without impatience, without doubt, without wavering. Your job is not to make it happen. Your job is to make it real. Within, the universe will take care of the rest. And so walk by faith, not by sight. Speak your desires aloud, not with desperation, but with thanksgiving. Give thanks that it is already yours. Go out into the world, not looking for evidence, but bringing evidence with you. The evidence of your new state of being. For when you act rich now, you bring your future into your present. You make the invisible visible. You turn spirit into matter, thought into form, assumption into fact. The world cannot resist a man or woman who has fully assumed their wealth, not because of charm or effort, but because of spiritual authority. They have claimed it in consciousness. And so life rearranges to honor that claim. People appear, ideas emerge, coincidences multiply, all because you finally stepped into your rightful place. So let the poor man say, I am rich, not because he is deluded, but because he is awakened. Let the one who waits rise and act as if he has already received. Let the one who doubts dare to believe once more. For the riches of heaven are not locked behind time. They are unlocked by assumption. Now close your eyes. Right now, imagine it's already yours. Feel the weight of that wealth. Feel the relief, the gratitude, the power, the peace, and carry that feeling with you. When you rise from your chair, do not leave it behind. Walk with it, talk with it, sleep with it, and I promise you the world you see will begin to shift. Not by force, not by strategy, but by spiritual law. You do not need more time. You need more belief. You do not need a better plan. You need a better assumption. And if you are willing to act rich now, with all your heart, with all your feeling, with all your mind, the universe cannot delay. It must deliver. And it must deliver fast. When it delivers, it will do so in ways that defy logic and surpass expectation. You will look back and say, how did this happen so quickly? But I tell you, it did not happen quickly. It happened the moment you shifted your inner state. What appeared to take days or weeks was already completed in consciousness. Time simply caught up to your assumption. And that is the beauty of this law. It does not discriminate between small and large, between likely and unlikely. It responds to belief, and belief alone. What is belief but the union of imagination and feeling, the blending of thought with conviction? The man who believes he is rich, though his bank balance says otherwise, is not insane. He is spiritually awakened. He has decided to live in the end. He no longer seeks confirmation from the outside world, for he understands the world is but a reflection of his inner speech. And when his inner speech declares, I am rich, the outer must bow to that decree. Do not fall into the trap of waiting for things to change before you feel differently. That is the way of the world, not the way of the creative spirit. The creative spirit declares, because I feel it, it must be so. This is not arrogance. It is divine confidence. It is the authority given to every man and woman made in the image of the infinite. When you finally accept that you are the operant power, you stop waiting and start creating. Begin each morning with a silent declaration. Today I walk in wealth. I breathe in abundance. I act rich now. And all things align for my good. Do not repeat these words robotically. Feel them. Let them enter your bloodstream. Let them become your vibration. When the world seems unchanged, remain unmoved, for you are no longer reacting. You are commanding. There will be moments when the old self tries to reassert itself, when doubt knocks, when fear whispers. But now you know the truth. You are not bound by what was. You are free to assume what is. And what is what you say it is. That is the divine gift. That is the power of consciousness. I have seen those who were buried in debt become financially free within months. Not by chance but by choice. I have seen people with no education or opportunity rise into unimaginable prosperity, because they chose to act rich now, not later, not when conditions improved, but now. They decided to occupy the state of wealth in imagination, and that state became their new address. So if you hear nothing else, hear this. Your reality begins and ends with what you accept as true. If you accept wealth as your truth, you will see wealth as your fact, not because you worked harder than others, but because you worked more faithfully within. The inner work is the real labor. The outer is merely a shadow of the inner movement. You must carry this feeling of wealth into every area of your life. Do not compartmentalize it. Let it influence your health,
your relationships, your creativity. Wealth is not just numbers on a screen. It is a fullness of being, a radiance of life. The rich man is not the one who possesses money, but the one who knows he is never without. Act from that knowing, and when you do, lack becomes impossible. You are not here to struggle. You are not here to beg. You are here to create, to assume, to express the fullness of divine abundance through your life. The faster you act rich now, the faster you synchronize with that truth, and the universe in all its infinite intelligence will match your inner world with external blessings that seem miraculous to others, but to you they are simply natural results. So let your imagination be sacred. Let your assumptions be holy. Let your inner speech be rich, loving, confident, and expectant. For you are not hoping to become wealthy. You are remembering who you truly are.
When that memory becomes stable, when it becomes your foundation, you will walk through life as a living demonstration of abundance. You will inspire others, not by what you say, but by what you are. You will prove to the world that there is a higher way to live, a way of grace, a way of faith, a way of manifestation through assumption. Do not wait another moment. Begin now, right now. With the next breath you take, assume the wealth you seek is already yours, not far away, not down the road, but here, now, in you. As you, let that be your truth. Let that be your power. Let that be your reality. And you will see this universe delivers, and it delivers fast. When you hold that assumption long enough, when it becomes so normal, so natural, so effortlessly yours, you will not need to affirm it anymore, for you will be it. There will be no longer a separation between you and your wealth, no longing or reaching, only being. You will walk into rooms not seeking to prove anything, but radiating the quiet confidence of one who knows they have it all. That is the final goal, not the money itself, but the identity that creates it. You must understand, identity precedes experience. All that you see in your world is the echo of who you have believed yourself to be, not who you hope to become, not who you strive to achieve, but who you are within. And the miracle is that you can choose your identity now. You can abandon the story of struggle, scarcity, and striving, and step into the story of opulence, ease, and overflowing supply. That choice is always yours. Some will tell you to be realistic, to manage your expectations, to accept limitation. But those voices do not come from truth. They come from fear, often disguised as wisdom. But I say to you, dare to be unrealistic. Dare to believe that what others call impossible is just what they haven't dared to assume. You do not need permission, you only need to persist. You will know when you have entered the state, because peace will flood your being. You will stop asking. You will stop watching the clock. You will stop checking for signs. The rich man does not ask, "Where is my money?" He knows, he rests in the knowing. And in that rest, everything comes to him without effort, without strain. That is the reward for those who choose to act rich now. They stop striving and start receiving. You are not too late, you are not behind, you are not missing anything. Everything you desire is already in place, waiting for you to match it in vibration, in belief, in identity. Your wealth is not outside of you, it is inside, ready to be outpictured the moment you claim it. And that claim happens not in words alone, but in action, inner action, mental movement, emotional decision. This is the secret to see and feel yourself rich before the world agrees. I tell you this, the world will agree. It must. It is bound by law to reflect the state you inhabit. And when you truly act rich now, you are not pretending. You are creating. You are declaring with every breath, "This is who I am." And the universe, ever faithful, responds, "Yes, so be it." This truth, once accepted, will change everything. You will begin to see wealth, not as something to chase, but as something to express. You will begin to give more freely, to think more expansively, to speak more powerfully. Not because you are trying to attract money, but because money is simply the natural byproduct of your state. Others may not understand your transformation. Let them wonder. Let them question. Let them watch as your world shifts in ways they once called miracles. But you will know it was never luck, never chance, never coincidence. It was the result of one decision to act rich now. As you continue, as you persist, you will awaken to the greatest truth of all, that the riches you once sought were only reflections of the richness already within you. The gold, the luxury, the freedom, the joy, they are not separate things, but mirrored images of the wealth of your soul. Once you realize this, you are truly free, not just rich in money, but rich in spirit, rich in confidence, rich in peace, rich in power. And that kind of wealth, the wealth of being, cannot be lost, cannot be stolen, and cannot be measured by the world. It is eternal. It is divine. It is you. So walk forward from this moment, not as the one who is hoping, wishing, or waiting, but as the one who has. Begin to move through life as though the treasure has already been deposited in your account, as though the key has already turned in the lock of your new home, as though every desire has already unfolded in divine timing, because it has. It has the very moment you believed it did. Belief, remember, is not a passive thought, it is an embodied stance, a position you take in the unseen that commands the seen to follow. When you act rich now, you are not fooling the world, you are informing it. You are informing the world who you are, what you expect, and what you are available for. The moment you claim it internally, the outer world must reorganize to match. It may not be instantaneous to the senses, but to the soul, it already is. And this is why the wise do not panic. They do not fumble, or chase, or beg. They assume, and they hold the assumption with such calm certainty that they bend time itself to their will. You too can live like this. You too can dwell in the certainty that everything is working for you, rushing to you, flowing through you, because you already are what you desire to be. No longer play the part of the one who lacks. Stop narrating lack. Stop worshipping delay. Speak as one who lives in answered prayer. Carry yourself as one who has nothing left to fear, because abundance is the atmosphere you breathe. When you shop, walk, speak, eat, sleep, do it from the state of being wealthy. Not wealthy someday. Not wealthy maybe. Wealthy now. And as you do, you will begin to notice subtle shifts. People will treat you differently. Opportunities will arise out of nowhere. Resources will appear exactly when needed, and you will smile. Not because you're surprised, but because you knew. You knew the moment you assumed the state, the world had to follow. You knew the instant you acted rich, reality had no choice but to obey the new command. Let others ask how. Let others seek formulas and techniques. You now know the deepest truth. You are the technique. Your assumption is the key. Your inner state is the doorway. Your persistence is the hand that turns the knob. Everything external is simply the echo, and echoes always follow the original sound. So keep sounding the note of wealth in your inner world. Keep feeling it, speaking it, living it, and you will find yourself surrounded by the material expression of that internal symphony. Not someday, but soon. Not by force, but by law. Not by effort, but by surrender to the reality you've chosen. You see now, the riches were never out there. They were waiting in here, in your consciousness, in your imagination, in your decision to believe. The outer world is only the stage. You are the actor, the script writer, the director, and the producer. You hold the pen. You decide the role. So why not choose to be rich? Why not claim it now? Why not act the part so fully, so consistently, that the universe has no choice but to bring your stage to life? Do this, and not only will you manifest wealth, you will awaken to your true nature, that of the divine creator. One who acts not from need, but from knowing. One who walks not in desperation, but in dominion. One who lives not in fear, but in fulfilled faith. As this truth deepens within you, you begin to understand why so many fail. Not because they lack talent, or opportunity, or timing, but because they refuse to become what they seek. They look outward for signs instead of inward for identity. But you, if you are still listening, if your heart is burning with recognition, you are different. You are ready to be it now. Not later, not when it's safe, but now, while everything still appears the same. For that is the act of true power, to stand in the middle of absence and declare presence. To feel rich in the face of emptiness, to act as if when all appearances say otherwise. This is not denial of facts,
but elevation of truth. The truth that imagination creates reality. That your assumption is more powerful than your history, your environment, or your current conditions. That what you feel now, deeply and consistently, will become what you see. So the question is not whether the universe will deliver. It always delivers. The only question is, what are you ordering with your assumptions? Every moment you indulge in lack, in worry, in doubt, you are reordering the same thing again and again. But every moment you act rich, think rich, feel rich, you have changed the order. You have aligned with the version of you who already has what you desire. And that version is not imaginary. It is real. It exists now. The only thing separating you is state. And states can be shifted in a moment, in a breath, in a decision. So breathe and decide. Take this moment and enter the state. Feel the fullness of your wealth. Hear the confirmation of your success. Taste the sweetness of financial freedom. Let it be real, so real that the outer world begins to look like the dream. That is the turning point. That is the pivot. When the inner feels more alive than the outer, and you live from that inner world, not just in meditation, but in action, in posture, in tone, in being. People may call you delusional. Let them. The results will speak for you. When they ask, how did you do it? You'll smile and say, I became it. Not through struggle, not through chance, but through inner conviction. You saw it, you felt it, you lived it, and life had no choice but to yield. So don't wait for signs, be the sign. Don't wait for evidence, be the evidence. You are the miracle walking. You are the abundance made flesh. And when you carry yourself this way, the world aligns. Not because you chased it, but because you remembered who you are. So I leave you with this eternal truth, act rich now, and the universe must obey. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. You have always been the operant power, the master key, the voice that commands the mirror of reality. Step into your wealth, not tomorrow, not later, but now. Walk in the state of already having. Speak from fulfillment. Think from the end. Because the moment you feel it real, it becomes real. Life is not waiting to bless you. It is waiting for you to claim it. Drop the old self. Release the idea that you're on the way. You have arrived. Declare it. Live it. Breathe it. The world cannot help but reflect the man or woman who knows they already possess it all. You are rich. You are powerful. You are divine. Assume it boldly, and watch, the universe will deliver fast.